What is up, you guys? My name is Anton, and I do college football videos with the Miami Hurricanes in focus. Now, today we're going to be talking about Manny Diaz and his impressions up to heading into week 3 for spring practice. Now, those who are wondering, hey, what the heck, where are the videos and the highlights from Saturday's scrimmage? There were none. It was closed off to the media. There was a coaching clinic for all the high school coaches out there. So the only thing we got was an interview of Manny Diaz after that. Now, if you do want to see some highlights and clips and discussions of those after that, Gabby and several other media outlets did a great job in creating those. So I have them right here. Just click on that. It will playlist. The first half of those videos is always a highlight, and the second half is my impressions and highlights of the spring practice. Now, to me, I'm going to talk about Diaz and who has really impressed them so far. Now, the guys that I first mentioned that stood out were John Ford and J. Silvera. And that's without question. They have been quite the studs in spring practice that have impressed anybody that's been there. The thing that I will say though, and he did mention also in his interviews, the second team it's gonna shine. And, you know, they're on the playing versus second team. They're gonna look a little better. And the other thing that I want to say is Diaz is a defense guy. Okay, keep that in mind. So D linemen are his guys. They're his men. You know, he's a tad more interested and he's got an eye for it. You know, he leans that way and he knows that's true. But he did mention other guys on the other side of the ball for sure. And him being head coach is really excited to see him and what he thinks of the offense. The guys that stood out to him on the offensive side were Jeremiah Payton. I'm very interested to see how that works out because he's been making use consistently as a wide receiver. Along with him was also Zion Nelson, which is an offensive lineman. I'm curious to see if he gets his place and work into rotation. I don't think it was so much of their ability to be starters this week, or I guess coming into this season, but I think it was the way they conducted themselves. He said he couldn't tell apart that they were freshmen or not, and really the standard is the same, just as high for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a senior or a freshman, you better be playing your best Miami Hurricanes football, and there's no downgrade in athleticism or ability regardless of your year, which is exciting to see him having that really high demand. The other guy that I also did mention was Harvey. Harvey's doing very well as a lineman, and it's just hearing that is like, wow, we have just a plethora of sources at the lineman, and Hill is not even here, and we haven't even seen the Chigozie Nyaruka 100% and Silvera in Team 1. So it's going to be very exciting to see. Miami's got an arsenal of weapons when it comes to defense, really anywhere. So really exciting to see. And the other one that he mentioned, which is a surprise to me, is Michael Irvin. He said he actually graded out the best as a tight end in the last practice before Saturday, which we've been hearing consistently good news from camp coming in that, hey, Irvin's doing well. He's putting in some work. He's really got a sense of urgency. You know, he's got a limited amount of time to showcase his abilities before the NFL comes calling. So it's really exciting to see that. And news on his father, he is cancer-free. So to those who have not heard that, that's awesome. Great prayers answered there. Now, I want to give my thoughts and my perspective on what guys have caught my attention the most recently. And I'm going to give you guys basically the top 4 guys, I think, that have really made news and great impressions, and we can possibly see them becoming very steady football production players coming into this season. The first guy, number 4, is Harley. It's not that it's a giant surprise that Harley is there. It's just he's very dependable. He's been in the system for a bit, and I expect him to be a solid starter, and I'm very excited to hear the fact that his abilities have not dropped off. He's not slacking. He's only improving and getting better. I expect him to have a very solid, productive year that's coming here this year. At 3rd, I'd actually put Williams. It's not that it was a giant surprise, and everyone wants to talk about the quarterback battle. I will mention a Miami Herald article talking about, look, Martell is actually sometimes better than Jaron Williams and N'Kosi Perry in terms of football knowledge and athleticism, which is interesting to hear that opinion of someone. So because Martell, he's got a different trait and ability, as does Perry. But Williams, look, coming into spring practice, and why I'm putting him at number 3 on my list of impressions, he was like at the level, basically everyone was the same. But then, and maybe Tate was kind of above there with the hype, or maybe Perry with the experience, but it wasn't Williams. But now, after, excuse me, this many practices, he might be number 1, and he's just balling out. He's putting his best effort out there, and he's doing very well. So that's a surprise to me, and I expect him to continue making noises. I'm very excited to see him in scrimmage once that comes up later into spring practice. The second place guy, Cam Davis. Definitely Cam Davis at number 2. We've heard from him every single practice day almost, and everyone's just really impressed. He has done a solid job. He finishes last season very well on a very solid production level. I expect him to possibly win out the number 1 job. We all were wondering what's going to happen in the running back room. Is DJ Dallas going to step up to the number 1 position after Homer's departure, or will Cam Davis overtake him? I expect if Davis continues doing what he has been doing, he has definitely that ability to possibly overtake him in number 1 position. We'll see how that works out, but he's definitely impressed me one of the most when it comes to anybody on the football team. And number 1 is Osborne. Okay, now people are like, well, duh, you know, Osborne, we knew he was all the transfer hype. Well, you know, Kennedy was a total flop, really. Like, we knew him coming from Butler was a different kind of competition level. And I know you can say that, you know, Buffalo's better. It's MAC competition at least. But Osborne is still improving. It could have been another D. Delaney type of situation. We didn't know what we were getting with him. We saw the high numbers. But when he came in, it wasn't just like he came in and said, hey, look, I'm a really good wide receiver. I still am. He's turning out to be the most experienced, mature, productive wide receiver in practice. He's putting work on and off the field. I expect him to definitely be a starter coming into this season. And it's crazy when we think about the wide receiver group now with the Osborne addition and him pushing all the wide receivers even harder, along with Jeff Thomas coming back still. And we still have Harley doing very well and Peyton making news. And we're like, wow, well, what about Pope? I thought we had Pope. He might be also making it. Wide receiver group is just getting stacked. I mean, just up and stacked left and right. It's going to be very exciting. I hope that we have a quarterback when he steps in that he can make on the mark passes. I mean, they got to be really excellent passes, hit them in stride, and these wide receivers are going to make the defenses pay for not being on them, and it's going to be exciting to see. So those are basically my news and my thoughts and impressions on what Manny Diaz believes the guys are number 1. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button down below, and be sure to hit the subscribe button and join this exciting college football community with the Canes in focus. And as you know, as I always say, guys, at the end of the day, it's always all about the you. If you stayed all the way to the end of this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you check out the link down below that has Patreon under it. This is my page right here. All you have to do is just click on that link. It will take you over here, and you have different tiers of benefits. If you can support me for as little as $1 a month to as much as over $50 a month, whatever you can do. Anything helps. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to give a personal shout out to Greg Bush being the first Patreon to support me as a creator. Thank you so much, Greg. I greatly appreciate your core support always through the beginning of this channel. If you also want to be shouted out at the end of the video or get a different sort of benefit, check the link down below.
Let's go.